Hello everyone, this is Dylan, and in this tutorial we'll learn how to use slugs and what a slug is and how to use that and why they're important. Now if we come over here on this page, you see this is my domain name, the best tech, and there's a slash, and after slash it says 10 reasons to learn software development. As you see, these over here, these are all words here, and if someone reads this it makes a lot of sense. So it's same for SEO or search engine optimization, where the search engine they can make sense from this URL that what this article or what this blog is about. So uh, if your URL of your articles is like this, instead of just numbers, like just say 111, then I mean, if you just have numbers like this, it doesn't make sense to search engines, and search engine can't guess what kind of blog or tutorial is this. But if you have things like this, it makes more sense to search engines. And this is called slug. So in this tutorial, I'll show you how to use slugs in your URL. And so let's get started. Okay, so now over here, I'm here in this controller. It's called learn laravel, and actually this is from previous tutorial, this section. But if you didn't watch previous tutorial, it's fine though. You'd be able to follow it very clearly. It's not a big of a deal. Now let's see what is this ID and what does it contain. So now let's go ahead and see. We'll do a DDump, and we'll save it. And now we'll go ahead and we'll start from the beginning though. Learn programming. Okay, it's loading. It could be a little slow sometimes. Sorry. Okay, here we go. I think we are pretty much from here actually. So this is, I think here I should have one hidden ID. Yeah, like this page value 7. So I'll click on this, and yes, that's what we get. And this value is coming from here. So what I get that it has an ID 7 which I passed through. Now I'll do a database query and see what information I have against this ID. And the way I'll create a variable called page, and I have a table called task. So I'll take everything from task that matches this ID, where, let's see, okay, so I think the column name is page ID so far I remember, and this ID is equal to the ID we just get from our request object, and we'll get all the objects that comes out within this ID. And now we'll do DDump and we'll see what's inside. Well, I'm doing all these things so that it makes more sense. Bear with me. I'll be into slug very soon. Okay, so now I'll refresh the browser again, and I guess I'll have more information. Okay, well, it's I think there's a mistake. It says page ID. Oh, sorry, I think it should be post ID. Sorry for that. Okay, now let's refresh it, and we'll have, yeah. So now here, as you see, I have an array and it has two objects. So let's open it up and see. So this is the first object, and in the first object, what do we have here? Okay, here we go. So post ID equals 7. So, well, this actual ID is 37, but post 36, and post ID is 7. Actually, this is the same ID. Just now we saw that this ID was equal to 7. Okay, now you see for this row we have a title column and we have slug column. So this is our slug actually. Just now we saw over here. This section and this part, they're pretty similar. So whenever you store something in your database, something like that, in general in programming we say this is a slug. So now we need to be able to use this one when someone clicks on this kind of link, or they type in this kind of thing on the URL, or like on the browser, we should be able to get something. Like here, if you read the slug, it says is how to use PHP variable in Laravel Blade. So it makes more sense to search engine when they read this thing. And with that, we also have description. So whenever someone types in this thing or click on a link like this, we'd be able to see this information and blog post, things like this. So the main purpose of slug is that it will pull out information from database related articles. Okay, so well, this is the first object, and second object, I think is pretty much same, where post ID equals 7 again, and row ID is 37, and it is another slug. Okay, well, this slug I created before this tutorial, so it's not a big of a deal. You can type in, or you can use some other code to do that, and actually it's easy to do. Maybe I'll make a tutorial to show you how to create slugs or auto generate slugs, but if you don't know for now, you can just directly type into your table or in your MySQL database. So this is not our focus today, though. Well, so far we have this information. Now, what I want them to be displayed this information, uh, this slug on my blade or on my web page, and when someone clicks on this slug, then it should pull up this information. And now let's see how to do this thing. Okay, so we are over here. So definitely we have to send this. Well, I think I'd go pages. It makes more sense. So this pages information to our blade, and we know that in Laravel to do that you need to first write return view, and then let's see, where is my? I think that should be in courses. That the blade name is. I guess it's online tutorial. Actually, I have already over here. I already created it before class, before this tutorial, before recording the video. I think it's online tutorial. Yeah. And what else I have to do? I have to use the compact function and just send this variable. Now, in the blade, I already made it. So let me explain to you. So I have this ID over here, which I got it from request object, and I'm using this ID which matches with this column to get all the objects or information or slugs and everything just now you saw over here. And now I'll send this information, this objects, to our blade using compact function, and in the blade we'll be using for each loop to do that, because get returns array of objects. So this is our a blade function, blade template or blade file. I think that this is where somewhere in courses folder. Okay, so folder's name is right. Okay, now let's see what happens once you send this information to blade and how it looks like. So I already made the page over here, the blade file. As you can see, I'm sending, well, I think I should, I have here pages, so I need to change it to pages. Let's see, okay, I'll just stick with page for now. I don't want to change something over there. It's fine though. And now, so I'm sending the page object here. And now I'm doing a for each loop. So if you don't know for each loop, you can go ahead and view other tutorial which I made about for each loop. And now look, so this section, this part, page, this how do you say this array? This is what, I don't know what sign it is actually, but it doesn't matter. Page contains this column, and this is coming from over here. So I can point to slug this column over here. It's called database column. So now, as in the first loop, page, when it points to slug, actually it would be showing this one. Okay. All right. And I already have another word that I have used that's called tutorial. So actually this is our route, and this route was specially made for slugs. And now let's go into our web page, sorry, web file. So this is the function I'm talking about. This is the router I'm talking about. So already I wrote here tutorials and slash curly braces slug. So this over here slug could be actually anything. It could be number, I guess. It could be string, I guess. So actually it could be anything of any sort. It doesn't matter. So now our URL or our route over here in our blade file should be tutorials whatever slug we get from database. So in our route it should be again tutorials and the related slug string, which I mean this one. So that's what we want to see in the blade right now. But it's still not in the URL, not in the URL bar like this, not browser, how to say, tab bar or whatever bar, not over here. We should be able to see this text or string on the page itself, not on the browser tab, I guess they call it. So it should look like tutorials slash and like how to do programming, how to send variables. I mean, whatever the name you get from your database. Okay, now let's actually save it. Actually, I did it previously though. Nothing to save much. So this would go ahead and call the view course function, I guess. So now first what we'll do, we'll find, let's see, okay, sorry, it should call online tutorial courses, online tutorials, and this is coming over here, tutorials. Okay, that's coming later. Okay, anyway, so sorry for that. So for now, we'd be able to see tutorials slash blah blah blah. Now let's refresh our browser because I already made this online tutorial, this blade file. Let's refresh the browser. Okay, it's pulling in information and we see an error. Okay, so there is a typo. Let me check on it. So I have here page online tutorials. So I'm coming over here. Okay, all the same problem. So it's not a problem, it's just a name convention. Now we should be pretty good. Okay, it's loading, guys. I guess this time it should work. Okay, here we go. Now let's see. So we have two lines here, but if you hover over them, you'll see this is that hand instead of the arrow or pointer. So it means it's a link. We can click on this. We can click on this. But right now, if you click, nothing will happen. But as you can see down there over here, that it's showing the complete URL, and we have actually pulled out the slug from our database and able to put them in anchor tag. So anchor tag is over here within this. So within a href, we are able to put the, actually I'm using over here the slug itself, and for title I'm pulling in the title. So this title is actually what you see over here, and when you hover over on the mouse, whatever you see down here, that's actually the slug. But now what do we want? If someone clicks on this link, so it will open up a new how to say, new page, and on the browser over here we'll see like how to use PHP variable in Laravel blade, things like this. Okay, let's click on this and see what happens right now. Actually, I guess nothing happens because I don't have any information related to show. Even though it does go there, it means it's working. It means that we are able to pull out the slug from the database, and when someone clicks on that slug, it opens up a new page, but it's an empty page. It's empty page because I'm not sending any information from our controller to Blade. Now let's go ahead to the controller and fix this thing. So far in this section, we are good. We are able to take out the slug and put it in our ahref tag. And once we click on the ahref tag, it's working. And now, just now we saw the tutorials page slug. So the route for this is this one. And this one in return calls view course, this function. And this function is in our blogs controller functions, blogs controller. So find this. So this is our blogs controller and view course. Yes, right now this is empty actually. But what we could do? I think we could just return slug, I guess. Let's see what happens. Return slug. And let's see what it returns. Yeah. Okay, so you're able to successfully print our slug. So let's try the other anchor link here, anchor tag. So how to send hidden value from Blade to Laravel. Okay, how to send. So it's working now. So our slugs are all working. So it means we successfully send the slug over here. Now, what to do? So now we are able to send the slug to our browser, but we are not getting any data from database. So remember, every slug has related information in our database, like your article description, and article ID, whatever. So let's print out this information and see. So what do we have here? So I'd call it info, and let's see, task where slug equal slug, and I'll get the first information. Remember, with get we get bunch of array objects, and with first we just get only one object, not really in array form, just one object. So it says that find the task model and find the slug column and try to match this slug information that's coming for this controller from our blade, and get only one. Okay, that's the meaning. Now we'll do DD and let's see what's waiting for us there. Okay, here we go. So let's refresh it. We'll be able to pull up more information, I guess. Oh, here we go. So over here, so you see this is the slug, and this slug column itself is called slug. Actually, you can call it anything you want. It doesn't have to, you don't have to call it slug. Okay, anyway, so we have a match related to this one, and this match is pulling up all this information. So now what do we need to do? We need to just show this information, and that's what we want to show to our users right now. So everything is working good. So now let's see. So now I have to send this information to our blade. So as usual again, what we'll do, courses that I think view tutorial, tutorials, and send it to our blade using compact function, compact info, right. Well, I don't want to call it info actually. I want to call it a page because each slug pulls up a new page from database. All right, we saved it. So we need to have view tutorials this blade, and actually I already created this blade file early, and now we need to send this one. So it should be here somewhere. Yes, right, page. So page title. So page title is this one. This page object contains a lot of columns, and I want to get the title column, and I also want to get the description. So here we go. So this is all this information. So right now we have the slug on our URL tab bar in over here, and in down over here we want to see the title and our description. So let's save it. I guess everything is good. um, okay, I don't need to save it. I think I already saved it. So let's refresh and see. Yes, now it's working. So this is the actual information coming from our database, and here we are able to pull up the slug from our database and the related information. So you can go back one step and click on the first one, and okay, new information from our database and with a new slug. So let me wrap up this information for you guys. So what we did here, to have a slug, you need to definitely have a router, and in the router it's better you have different keywords from, like, say you have blogs for tutorials, you have blogs for courses, and you might have blogs for even a lot of other things, like say freelancing. Right over here actually you can create a slug, or you can call it slug or whatever you want, it doesn't matter. Okay, we do this to make a differentiate. Otherwise, for Laravel, this is a slug and this is a slug. They wouldn't make a difference. So Laravel would be always pulling, if you have a lot of slugs, but they don't have a different keyword at the beginning, Laravel would always pull up the first one. So you need to have a different keywords, and keywords are random, but they should match your page title and page information. Like for me, this is a tutorial for Laravel, so that's why I called it Laravel. I could have called, sorry, I called it tutorials because it's a Laravel tutorial. Of course, I could have called it just A, B, C, A slash, B slash. It doesn't matter though. But if you name like this, it makes more sense. So you have to have a keyword, and then you have to have a curly brace. Within curly brace, you can write slug or ID or whatever name you want, but people in general like write slug over here, and then you have the controller and you call the related function from your controller. That's all you need to do. And what else? Let me see. And okay, one more thing over here. If you have slug, like for example, from online tutorial from over here, we are sending this a slug, right? To slug to slug to slug to this view course function, right? Okay, so and now in view course function, remember you have to call you relate the slug, that's a column related to slug. Okay, it can't be like, if you use like ID, of course it wouldn't work because ID is numeric number. Over here at slug, I have saved the slug. So in my slug column I have saved the slug, so you need to be careful. So this ID or this column has to be the one where you slug edge in your database. It should, and do remember, don't use things like that, like find or fail. Yeah, if you do like this, it wouldn't work. Let's see. I think it will get 404. That's because when you use find or fill, this function from Laravel, it always looks for the column, the ID column, like where you see 1, 2, 3, 4, not really the other columns. So find or fill, it has to do with the row number, right? Okay, it's the first row or second row, but we over here we passed a string which doesn't match with ID. It'll only match with our column which has the name slug. So this is what something you need to be careful. So this section again has to be the same as your slug name, or I mean this is actually the slug name in my database, so I'm directly using it. And you should get the first object in general, not all of them, and send it to your blade, and that's how it works. So slug is pretty simple in one sense, but it could be complex though if you don't understand, plus the way we name it, because we can name here in many different ways though for slugs or the route name. And another thing you should know that you should use different keywords before slug names so that you are getting the correct blog information or article information. Hopefully you understood this one, and if you have any questions, leave a comment below. I will try to reply you. Thank you so much.